Nice.
Very nice.
Nice.
69.
Okay. Welcome back to What the Podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm John.
And together we are
Ryan and John.
on the couch as always, producer Cara Tafolla, and joining us this evening, the lovely Annie Skovmand.
Time is all by her. You know?
Folks,
Shows
right
by
raise your
now.
tiny
Shows by her
glasses
Right,
tiny
this is going
solo
to ruin the
cups.
whole vibe.
Tiny solo
in honor
cups.
of
This
the
is not a
best
house
saint of
show.
them all, Saint Patrick, who
Yep.
chased the snakes out of Ireland.
Really, is that how it goes?
Yeah.
That's what he did.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
Wow, 40%.
Oh, Jesus.
That's typical.
Ryan.
You know, it's not allowed to be called whiskey unless it's 40%.
Oh my
really?
gosh, I'm going to pull the
All right.
microphone away
To
so I don't
us.
gag.
To all.
Wait, I got to do an Irish
sorry,
blessing.
Go ahead.
You're not Irish.
Okay, it's for your heritage, Cara.
You're barely Irish.
My
dude.
children will be Irish.
How dare you?
That's true.
I'll pull up my ancestry after this.
Okay.
Oh
yeah,
my
that's real.
Cheers. May you be in heaven an entire hour before the devil knows you're dead.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Wow, I love that.
Oh, God.
Incredibly smooth.
Is there a list of...
My chai tracer.
You're
chaser.
You're chasing the chai.
I
Nice.
don't care if there's cooties. I need that.
Okay, whoa.
Okay, well, that's COVID's a really
and
okay.
COVID
Yeah,
is
stick the
really
straw in.
happening.
All right.
Thanks.
It's still
Hey,
there.
what is your favorite holiday that America has taken and just making it a day of like just drinking all day?
Cinco de Mayo.
It's a pretty good one.
4th of July.
Oh, good one.
Wait, what was the question?
Your favorite holiday that America has taken,
Has ruined.
ripped it of any meaning it had, and just made it a day of drinking.
Mardi Gras?
Oh, God.
But isn't that isn't that like French?
Nice.
Well, that's kind of, yeah, exactly, sure. So there you go.
yeah.
Mine's probably St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, really?
Just,
See,
you know,
see,
have a
growing
green
up,
beer.
Now, was this like a thing you celebrated growing
so
up?
God,
'Cause
it's
I
still
don't-
there.
Growing up,
It's in my- I
no,
can
I can't
feel
say
it.
it was.
Because I was going to say, because I think the most we've ever, I mean, we didn't really even celebrate it, but like the most we've ever done is like the, what's the traditional,
4th of July? Is that
No.
what you said?
Corned beef and cabbage?
yeah, that, we hate that
Yes.
on St. Patrick's Day, which we're still
Really?
planning to, which
Yeah.
We had
I'm
some
not a
before
huge
this.
fan. I'm not going to lie.
Really?
like
Oh,
corned beef
leftovers
cabbage?
from your dad's.
That's right.
Your
Yes.
dad's the chef
Isn't it
now.
the-
That's
Yes.
right. As
We've
seen on
had,
Facebook.
We've also had corned beef and cabbage every single
I'm
day.
a big fan. Trader Joe's every year has a thing like it's like a prepackaged pre-seasoned one, and
Yeah.
you just put it in the
It's
what do
really
you call it?
good.
The slow cooker,
Oh, nice.
crock pot. You just make it.
See, my mom's big on making
Delicious.
it, and I'm like, I don't love it, and so I'm like, why? And I don't think anybody else in my family likes it. So I'm like, why are we eating it just in the name
one
of
of
the
those
holiday?
traditions.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
it's also
Sure.
that thing where it's like, it's like what's the heart of the holiday, and corned beef and cabbage has nothing to do with it. So
Corned
So what
beef.
does-
now
What is the
green
heart
eggs
of a
and
holiday?
ham
What's
would
the
be a
heart
different
of
story.
What's the heart of St. Patrick's Day? Tell
Yeah,
us.
give it to us, historian Annie.
Yeah, that's kind of your job on the show.
Saint
Yeah, you haven't
Patrick.
really been doing your job lately.
I can tell you the history of St. Patrick's
Let's
Day.
hear it.
Okay, here we
So
go.
St. Patrick, unlike the common history told by most people, it actually wasn't one person. He had nothing to do with Catholicism. It was two people, Saint and Patrick. They were friends. They decided that on one day they were
making this
gonna
up.
they were gonna
No, go ahead.
liberate all of the snakes. Yeah, in all of Ireland. So
Liberate them.
the snakes had been oppressed for many years.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
That's an important fact.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
snake
you.
rights.
Snake
and
rights.
so
Snake
it-
rights.
Nobody talks about
among
it,
the
but-
snakes,
Hey, time's up
St.
for snakes,
Patrick's
you know?
Day it's National Snake Independence Day in Ireland.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
today-
And that's what
today?
they don't know. That's
Yeah.
what people don't realize is
They don't realize, and so then they call
Frankenstein
St. Patrick.
is the
So
doctor.
then, just because Catholicism had a St. Patrick who had something to do with snakes, from what I hear, they just associate with him. Nothing to do with the man.
So you actually
It's actually
didn't pass
Ermin-
that class to graduate recently, right? Like you're
Ermin
still
Saint-
working on school.
It's Ermin Saint and Carlos Patrick, and they just happened to be buddies that were hanging out in
I'm
Ireland.
gonna just say it. That bit.
So
Didn't
good.
hit. Didn't
So
hit.
good. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's really good.
So this says
Didn't
for
hit.
real.
Didn't hit.
Oh,
Didn't
Kara,
hit.
is that what Wikipedia?
Ahead of its time.
You think
for
that
real.
has
It says
serious?
that St. Patrick was born in Roman Britain and he was kidnapped and brought to Ireland as a slave.
That's pretty much how it
Dang.
works.
Makes sense for the Romans.
Tracks.
Makes sense.
And
Wow.
it's the anniversary of his death is March 17th.
Nice.
So St. Patrick's Day.
Oh,
Oh, March 17th.
Do you want your holiday to be the day you are born or die?
That's a good question.
Is it? I don't know.
Shouldn't it always be when you're born because it's more celebratory?
I don't know.
What
I
is,
mean-
is Martin Luther
Died.
King Day his birthday or his death
It is
day?
his birthday. I don't.
Oh, death
I
day?
don't
Like,
think
that's
we
weird?
Really, we're gonna celebrate the day that he was assassinated?
Yeah,
Annie?
come on.
Oh, okay,
that's a little
but
insensitive. I'm
St.
not gonna lie.
Patrick, he gets his death day. It's his
That's why I'm
celebration
saying
day.
it's kind of messed up.
21%.
Wouldn't that be giving
21.
credit to the person
21.
who assassinated him if they made
That's
it
a
like
lot.
that was his day?
Okay.
Then the person
Okay,
who
but here's-
assassinated him was
okay,
like,
here's the
I
thing.
created this day.
Here's my argument for assassination.
Go ahead.
Okay. Actually,
Love.
I'm going to transition.
Go ahead.
To something else.
Okay.
Great.
You guys, we
My argument. We'll go back to
I
this.
had that. I had
Okay.
an argument.
Really? Really? You
Yes.
want to lay into that one?
Yes, real fast.
Okay.
Ryan's a little
It's
uncomfortable
not,
with this.
It's not on board for
You're
assassination.
defending. Wait. You're
No,
you're
I'm not
defending
defending.
celebrating.
Wow, that
No,
whiskey's
I'm
kicking
not
in.
defending assassination. I'm saying I'm not supporting celebrating assassination. I'm saying that most of these people
God.
with certain few like Martin Luther King in history books, no matter what, no matter how his life ended,
Sure.
right?
Okay,
Even if he
that's
lived
true.
a long life.
Okay.
JFK, I think he's in the history books. He is seen as amazing president purely because
was
he was assassinated and
Well,
he was
that-
attractive.
Wasn't he not very good?
He wasn't
No,
that great
he
of
was-
a president. He
Okay,
truly
people
wasn't.
I mean,
loved him as a president.
That's
Well,
great.
no,
You're
people-
different.
You know
It's
who
different
else
than
they
being good and
loved?
a people
You know who
pleaser.
people loved?
Martin
Give you
Luther
a
King
little,
Jr. and-
give you a little hit.
Okay, actually, they
Hitler.
didn't like
Hitler.
him.
Hitler.
They loved Hitler.
I read your mind.
You know what? I was going to say, I
Okay.
don't know that you get assassinated if you're like the worst president in the world. You know what I'm saying? If you're not doing much, is what I'm
but
saying.
listen,
Why do you think why was he assassinated? Just because
because of political
well,
issues.
I know why.
lots
The
of-
FBI killed him. But
Yeah. Oh, the FBI killed him,
The
but
FBI
Van Gogh wasn't murdered.
now let's talk about
Okay.
Van Gogh.
Okay,
That was my
talk about your
transition.
pin.
Okay,
Show
number
'em the
one.
pin.
Where did you get that pin?
I got this pen from Emma. She just got back from France. Shout out
Oh,
to
that's
Emma.
cool.
Oh, she got it
Former
from
guest of
France?
this show. She was in France.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lucky
She
her.
saw Van Gogh stuff and she saw the Mona Lisa.
that's cool.
Yes.
I didn't
But,
know the Mona Lisa was in Paris.
I didn't have strong opinions about Van Gogh until I walked in today, and
That's usually how
And
this
now
works.
we have them.
now here we are. My transition, thanks for asking,
Yeah.
was about my bootleg parking lot concert T-shirt.
You bought that in the parking lot.
Yes, I did.
It didn't look like something they'd be selling at
This
the concert.
weekend,
Oh, no, they were
we saw
selling that
John
exact
Mayer, and I mean not exact, but you know how you have like the official merch inside,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like and it's a racket. They're selling
They had
T-shirts
such a
in there
cute
for
sweatshirt for
$50. They're doing
$100
$100 for a
for a sweatshirt?
that just says John Mayer on it.
No, it said Sob Rock in the back, but it was like embroidered.
And you
like,
wanted it.
Yeah, I did.
Now right
And
outside.
Why didn't you get it?
Because I don't need it.
Oh, good call. There you go.
Amen.
Save that money.
But right outside the gates, right? You've got the dude out there with his
his
little
bag.
cricket maker,
Love.
or whatever he's doing with t-shirts,
But mostly cricket.
iron-ons.
Yeah.
$20. I got this shirt.
$20.
$20.
No return policy.
So-
but hey,
There's no return policy for
I
the
know,
concert.
there's
anyways.
You've got a cricket maker. We know concerts.
Oh.
let's make some money.
Let's make some money.
So
in.
when we were walking in, these people were selling them too. So I looked at one and we were like, let's see if like that's like the actual shirt that's inside. And we went inside, and the one that the guy was selling for $20 was inside in the
It was
tent.
pretty close to this design.
For how
it's like
much?
just the album
How
artwork.
much inside?
$45.
Yeah, 45.
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
Rip off. And you know it cost them $3 to make it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the going price of like band merch.
Yeah.
That's just
these
so
days.
interesting
his was,
about that.
His was actually way more expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
'cause
more
I
or
don't
less
know.
depends on the artist, I guess.
His was like t-shirts 45 when
That's
normally
similar
it's like
to
35.
that was similar to Harry Styles was like 40, 45, 50.
Is it
Yeah.
because they know they can?
style.
Is it
I
because
think it is. It's like the built-in scarcity of a concert. Like, maybe once a year, once every other year, your artist comes to your town
Yep.
one day, maybe 2 days.
Not maybe
that's
not even your
true.
town.
So
Well, it's kind of like just things in general, right? Like I was having this the other day where if the more people buy it, the more it goes up in price. And that's kind of like an artist's career no matter what. The more
Sure.
that people are interested in them, the higher their value goes. So like if you had gone to Harry Styles when he, like pre One Direction, just doing some gig somewhere, his merch would have been like $10 tops.
it's supply and demand, right?
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
so now he's selling out, he could be selling, if he still sold merch $10, he would still be making a crap ton of money.
Well, even more people would buy it.
Yeah, but now
Maybe.
he could sell for $100
maybe.
and people will buy it. And then it will be like, you know, people are more likely to be like, oh my gosh, I need to go get that concert ticket because I want that t-shirt really bad because I'm obsessed with Harry Styles and that's the only way to get it.
I don't know. I feel like they already got you, right? Like you
They're
bought
greedy.
the ticket. You know,
You
what I'm saying?
are there,
So like,
right?
I'm not saying sell it for cheap or even for like or anything like that.
Guess how
but
much
like,
they were charging for parking.
that's what I'm saying.
Parking
like,
was a racket.
like that's what I'm saying. It's like at some point, come on, like the merch can be reasonably priced. I feel like, but you know,
Plan ahead, Annie, because I know you're going to the same
I'm going
concert
tomorrow.
this week. $60 for parking.
Luckily I'm
No
carpooling with people
way.
who I
That's the
think
comp.
might have a parking pass
Okay, and you're
already.
gonna you'll
They have
well,
pit
there you go.
tickets.
Because there's
Because
so
the
there's
further you got from the venue, the cheaper it was. We ended up paying $40 for parking.
There's like they closed down the preschool that was there and are using that parking lot.
Yeah.
All of the residential parking, since the SoFi Stadium is right there now.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of signs. What did they say? What was the?
It was like no parking anytime after 5 p.m. Basically.
No, it was no parking anytime except for
Between 8 and
these
5.
times between 8 and 5. But
That was
only
it.
for resident. It was like you had to have if you had to be a
Yes.
resident to park on the streets.
Yeah.
I wonder how they enforce
Crazy.
that. That's interesting.
Oh, there were
Ticket
cops,
brigade,
there
yeah,
were
there's
parking
tons of-
enforcement everywhere.
Yeah.
But like,
Yikes.
I guess my whole point is like you can't just buy a concert ticket anymore. It's like the built-in around it.
Well, because
rough.
I think the venues make their money off of the parking.
Sure.
Like I
Well,
don't
this
think
venue now.
I think they probably get a cut of the ticket, but I think the majority probably goes
they
to the
have
artist.
to.
I think, I bet you a lot of like the Ticketmaster fees go back to the
Yeah.
venue too.
Yeah.
This venue is now elevated too because it's next to SoFi.
I thought that you like the artist just pays whatever the venue fee costs, and then they can set their own prices of the tickets and make.
I
the
think
money
there's
how
a
back
lot,
how they
a lot
want.
of things that go. I actually watched a really good video on it. John Oliver did like a whole op-ed about it, and it was like the fees that Ticketmaster puts in are like vary so much because sometimes the venue will be like, yeah, no, for this artist we want an extra like 40% fee or whatever. Like
Jeez.
depending on the artist, the venue can set it. Depending on the venue, like the artist can set it, and they've got you hand over fist
Don't they
because
still do that thing at Sports Arena where you could walk up to like the ticket booth and not pay fees?
I'm
if
not
you paid
sure
there-
if
you
they
pay
still
there?
do that.
I was interested because I was on TikTok the other day and I came across JoJo Siwa, who's in the
Yes.
in the middle of her or finishing her tour that was happening before pandemic and finishing.
What does
And
she do on tour?
That's
How could
that's
she
the question
tour?
I had.
She
She
dances and sings.
she has music. She
Yeah.
she
What?
has music apparently, and I thought like who goes to this? But she's also kind of a young
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
pop
young
star.
kids.
You know what I'm saying? Like kids want to go to this. I looked up how much she made on the tour,
the tour.
so far.
Yeah.
In the first half before pre-pandemic, how much money do you think an artist like that makes on tour? You know, like we talked about, after everyone gets paid, like this is their cut of the tour.
I'm gonna
20
say,
mil.
She's an interesting one. Is it like way ridiculous, or is it not as much as you thought?
It was more than I thought because I was under the understanding that artists, you know, I thought like, oh, they make a couple of million because you know you got to pay all your whole staff, you got to rent the gear
Was
usually
she at
at some
Sports
point.
Arena? Was that where that show was?
I don't know. I don't know if she was
depends on the
here.
show,
I
I
don't think she
suppose.
came here.
And
I don't think she ever
thought-
came
I
here.
saw people posting about it. Anyway, she's selling out stadiums like that. I mean,
and that's
I'm
what's
sure
so crazy is,
14,000
like-
people in a venue.
Yeah.
that's what's so crazy is I thought like, oh, I mean, she's obviously doing. She wouldn't.
She's
take
probably
a tour
made.
date.
I'm going to say just $100 million, right?
Oh, it's a little
Not
less
that
than
much.
Well,
but-
she's
$50 million.
even bigger now because she's finishing it after she did Dancing with the Stars.
Tell me when it's ridiculous. $40 million.
Let's see. Okay, guess.
Okay, you really.
She already guessed.
I said 20 mil.
You teed it up from
I'd
you
say
quite
like
a bit.
five mil.
$26.9 million. I thought that was a lot
Yeah.
for her. You know what I'm saying?
$26 million for a tour.
Well, think about all the
For
merch,
half of a
too.
tour. For half of a tour,
her
by the
personally,
way.
she puts it in her pocket.
No, that is her takeaway from from this new tour. She said, and that's only the first leg. That was last year.
Guaranteed, her tour probably made like $200 million.
For her specific, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Her
But,
merch
you know,
itself
and-
is huge. The bows.
She's in everything,
and
yeah.
T-shirts.
But
She's
how
in
much
all.
how much does it cost to like run a venue like that for one night? You know, it's probably a couple $1 million.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But like, that's
Fill
why
the
I thought
seats,
her
pay everybody.
See, that's why I thought her takeaway would be smaller. I thought she'd make like 5
But I wonder
to
how
10
much she
million.
paid up front because I'm sure she has to pay like
Well, she
venues
probably
and
owns
stuff.
the gear, I imagine.
But, like,
'cause
I'm
all
sure
those
she
artists
paid-
own like all
her,
that.
her touring
gear.
stuff is fine, but you do. I'm sure she does pay.
She like
Let's say
pays
she-
all the venues and books everything.
Sports
She has to
arena.
book
They're
all the
like, yeah,
hotels
give
in
us
advance.
$5
Like,
million.
yeah, she
Come play a
she
show.
probably paid like 100 mil out.
That's kind of the allure when you become a famous, world renowned artist is to do touring. I mean, that feels like where you make a lot of money, right?
It used, it
Especially
used to
stadium
be,
tours.
and it's like, well, actually, I
Yeah,
guess
you would know most of it.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
let,
you're a
no,
world
let me
renowned
tell you.
artist.
Let me
I'm
tell you
being
what it's
genuine.
like to
you would
sell
know
out
more
a,
than any of us.
Sure.
You're in the
Okay,
music
well,
industry.
Fair.
Generally.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
That wasn't a dig.
Real,
I'm
no
serious.
real. No, I would know, and thank you. When
go
I
ahead.
sold out Sports Arena, it
When
was,
I sold out Madison Square Garden,
let me tell you, it was tough getting that money up front. It used to be more, but I think honestly, it's leaving that and it's turning more into the brand deal is where the money's at, and the streaming. Well, not streaming actually. Like the online presence is more
Yeah.
where the income is.
That's true.
As opposed to like, because it just isn't where I think it's merch too. Really.
You remember when Beyonce signed that deal with Pepsi? How much was that for? It was for an astronomical amount of money.
Who would sign a deal with
Billions.
Pepsi? Ugh.
Oh, come on. You wouldn't sign a deal for this much money? I guarantee
No, I
you
would.
would.
Just Pepsi itself is blech.
I'm gonna say
Okay, go ahead.
$500 million.
I think it was, let's see.
I'm gonna say 250 mil.
You're a Pepsi.
No way.
generation.
It was only $50 million? That doesn't feel like that much. I thought it was, at the time it felt huge, but that
For
was
doing
obviously-
what? I mean, what was she doing?
In a couple of commercials.
Yeah.
She technically is still in the partnership, but she doesn't do
30-second commercial spot.
She don't
I'd
do
be
nothing in the mobile.
Stoked.
I don't know, man. That's pretty crazy.
Nor do I. Well, I mean, who knows?
So you got Van Gogh pin. That's where we're
I got a
at.
Van Gogh pen.
And then we were talking
I'm
about
ready-
Van
I'm
Gogh
ready
before
for
the
a-
show a little bit.
Yeah,
About
his
the
controversial
tortured
death.
artist, you know?
Tortured
I
artist.
really wanted to go to. He has an exhibit right now.
Yeah.
Well, he
and it's
doesn't.
like,
His
well,
estate
yeah, because
does.
he's dead.
Go ahead.
He doesn't have anything these days.
He's
He
dead,
long
so.
got. Yeah.
And you think he was murdered?
was
He
God.
was murdered.
Okay,
Ryan, I just can't believe you can't
there's so
understand
much to this.
this.
I'm just okay.
Go ahead.
That's fine. That's fine. It's a little like the Kurt Cobain case for me. I'm like, maybe he was.
No, I don't
but-
think Kurt Cobain was murdered.
No, that's like I'm saying. There's a similar conspiracy theory.
There's a
that
conspiracy
says
about
Yeah,
everything.
I have
He
the
was
final say
murdered.
in the word,
Okay.
in the world of who was murdered and who
You
wasn't.
do apparently. Let's hear it.
Marilyn
he was
Monroe murdered by JFK,
Oh.
who also was murdered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, whoa.
Do you think that, like, do you think Monroe's people came on
No,
to JFK?
I think people who are like crazy about politics and political sides killed JFK.
Probably true.
But I also don't think he was that great of a president.
Really, I think his.
Burn. Van Gogh murdered.
I'm not gonna make any.
Kurt
Yeah,
Cobain,
let's hear about that
not
one.
murdered.
Let's hear about that one.
Listen, okay.
Van Gogh is severely
I
depressed.
love how much you know about this
Severely
because
depressed.
nobody knows as
I
much as you
listen to a
do
lot of murder podcasts.
regarding the Van Gogh case.
Okay,
By the way,
yes.
but
Which
go ahead.
seems
On
pretty
a
open
murder-
and shut, but let's hear it.
No.
Not to Annie.
No.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Listen.
Go
I
ahead.
listen to a lot of murder podcasts, which this case was on. Ergo,
The fact
murder.
that this is a case is already
It is a
hilarious.
case. Okay.
1890.
Let the scene be set.
Hold on.
Imagine this.
Oh, hold on. We'll get you back up music here in a second.
I need my.
Dream sequence.
Go ahead.
The scene is. Well, I don't really remember the exact place he was murdered. Somewhere.
Okay.
France?
Somewhere in Europe.
Seems like a
Europe.
untrustworthy
The
narrative.
scene
I don't know
is
when it
Europe.
was or where
The
it
scene
was.
is Europe, 18 something. Van Gogh, a struggling artist, mentally ill, living alone in I believe a halfway house. Struggling, definitely. Had just gotten out of a mental facility.
Was he struggling?
He was struggling, definitely. Goes to paint one night after, being bullied by these children in the town for being weird and having one ear because he cut it off. From mentally struggling. Goes to the field. No,
Okay.
keep the music
Okay,
going.
yes,
keep
thank you.
the music going.
You're right.
Goes to the field to paint. Witnesses saw him go with his painting supplies to the field to go finish the painting he'd been working on. Hours later, he returns, no painting supplies, holding his stomach, goes upstairs, would be found later to be shot.
Okay. With a bullet wound.
With a
you
bullet
should say.
wound.
Not found to be shot.
Found later dead in his bed, had been shot. No painting supplies were ever recovered, and no gun was ever recovered.
Okay, it was also 1890.
Shut up, it's murder.
Getting away with the crime back then.
What were the FBI files like back then?
Oh, what were the FBI files?
Oh.
It's murder.
Okay.
Murder.
It's murder.
Interesting.
You know what?
So
I
you
thought
think
You know
that
what?
was...
He already, and you know what?
I thought you were going to have like the big smoking gun or something. It's like, they never found out why.
I actually think
died.
I think they found him alive a little bit.
Okay.
And he was
And
like,
what did he say?
Well, but the whole
those
idea
kids,
is that
they shot me.
they were trying to, yeah, no, he definitely was alive because they were trying to get him to say what happened and he wouldn't.
Okay.
And they think it's because he was such a kind guy
oh, really?
that he didn't want
He
to
wouldn't
turn.
give up his own murderer.
Well, he
So
felt bad. I
kind.
don't think he knew he was,
He was
going
gonna
to die.
anyways.
Wow.
But he definitely was mentally struggling. Some of his paintings, we were talking about this earlier, some of his famous paintings were of his psychiatrists. And they saw his like.
Scream is by Van Gogh,
Was that
right?
Van Gogh?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
is it?
it's Van Gogh. He dealt with a lot of mental issues. It's really sad that he wasn't seen as like, creatively sound.
I mean, he didn't like become popular until after he
his
passed
death,
away,
years
right?
years later.
Which
They
is
just-
crazy because his
Jeez.
stuff is so good.
They saw him as just like the paintings as like ramblings of a mentally ill man.
That's pretty sad.
Starry Night.
Yeah,
Come on.
it's
The
All right, that's pretty
sunflowers.
sad.
What the mentally?
on.
No, what was it? What the ramblings of a?
mentally ill
Of a
man.
mentally ill murdered man.
Yeah,
It's
probably not. Probably not.
Van Gogh. What the Van Gogh murder? What the Van Gogh conspiracy?
It's a little early to
What
be.
the- hey,
titling
hey,
we haven't
the
really
episode.
even gotten into it.
Start
I
playing
mean-
again. Next
Okay,
murder case.
thank you.
What's
Yes.
the, what the Soft Rock
JFK
murder?
apparently.
JFK murdered. Marilyn Monroe murdered.
Murdered.
This
No,
was
that's interesting.
the 1960s, so they definitely have
Hey, murder.
one. Okay.
I think I bring up death a little too much on this podcast.
It's fine.
We've been talking about
literally
death a lot.
anything
Yeah.
else.
Okay,
Right?
fine.
I mean,
Go
what
ahead.
do you
Ever
got?
thought about
No,
childbirth?
you're the one changing it.
No, that's a whole thought.
No, let's talk about this. Let's talk about
Yes.
something nothing to do with death.
Go ahead.
Kanye and Pete Davidson.
Oh, he's back. That's right.
Little update on the controversy.
Yeah.
Man, the guy
You know,
doesn't know when to stop.
I
I'll
kind
tell you
of-
that much.
I hate to say it, I'm a little team Kanye these days.
You know
Really?
what?
You thought the texts were too much?
I thought it was just. I think Pete is trying to play both sides.
Well,
Like
and I
he's
think
trying to
Kanye
not look
probably
like the.
also cut
he
out
wanted
his-
to like dig the knife in a little bit, and he also wanted to be like, oh, like I'm the bigger man here. He's like, come on, like let's just talk it out, bro. And Kanye's like, where are you right now? He's like, in bed with your wife.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
And then he's
For-
like,
for
he's like,
those who
don't
are-
do this to your kids, man. It's like,
For those who are unaware of what happened, Kanye today, or when this was recorded, Friday, of course, Friday. Anyway, posted
shadow the glass
posted
all the
the
time.
screenshots of a conversation between him and Pete Davidson, which he leaked,
Yep.
where Pete Davidson was egging him on.
Yeah.
Was egging him on, and
But then Pete Davidson went on to share the rest of the conversation, which was him basically, I feel, backpedaling and being like, it's okay, man. Like, we can just talk this out. Like, you don't want to do this, like, for your kids, man. Do it for your kids, was like his whole point.
yeah,
It's kind of
and
like, meh, meh.
I don't know. I feel like Kanye's in the wrong, and he's the in bed with your wife was like, okay, now you're just egging
That's
on
just
this
rough.
dude.
Like,
And the worst part about it, right, is like at one point he goes like, dude, I know what it's like to struggle with mental illness, like, and
Yeah.
I know how hard that is.
and I believe that to be
Oh,
true. And
yeah.
it probably, like, is a good thing to be coming to him and saying that. But, like, lead with that and just leave it at that. Like,
Well, yeah, like
he just
don't
let
egg him on at all.
the weirdness get to his head when you're dealing with like somebody that is a narcissist like that. Like, you're not supposed to engage with them. Like, you're not supposed to stoop to their level.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's also that kind of thing where I'm like, okay, dude, now you just look like a d-bag.
Yeah, totally.
And like, why would you be texting him if you really are in bed with his wife? Like, get out of here.
So
That's
sketchy.
sick.
Like, what do you think, John?
I mean, I think the whole thing kind of sucks. I read something about who was it? I can't remember. It was a celebrity that was kind of commenting on the whole thing, and
Sure.
and he was basically saying like the only reason we think what Kanye is doing is interesting or is okay to some degree is because he's famous. You
Yeah.
know, like anybody else seeing the way that Kanye has treated the situation would treat it as like stalking, you know,
yeah,
like weird
1,000%.
vibes.
The whole thing's fairly like high school.
Yeah, and
You know,
I think if Kanye hadn't sold, you know, millions of copies of music and was really famous and had that as an influence, we would see this as, you know, an ex with a vengeance.
Yeah.
That is really seriously dangerous and not okay.
Totally.
But because he's Kanye, we think it's like, oh, it's funny, it's
And
entertaining.
all
you
the
know?
players that are in play right now, Pete
Yeah.
Davidson,
And I
Kim
think-
Kardashian, and Kanye West.
I
like,
think Kanye West. We talk about this kind of a lot. It's kind of a case of mental illness that is
Left unchecked.
left unchecked and fueled by society, you know, and being like, oh, like he's fine, he's creative, you
Yep.
know, and it's like, well, is this the right conversation we should be having, or is it like, hey, you know, this guy is seriously struggling, and we're letting him kind of say and do whatever he wants, which is scary, but also, you know, I don't know how else to handle it.
That's
you
kind of an
know?
interesting take too, like the fact that we're fueling it by giving it attention.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
is kind of that's the other part that nobody wants to address is like we look at it, you know, like it's in the public eye and we fall for it, right?
And
Like,
that's why he gets away. It gets away with what he gets away with. Like I said, and that is the perspective was really interesting for me because I think it's just entertaining. Like, you know, it's somebody else's lives. I'm
Sure.
like anybody else. It's just like, oh, it's entertaining to watch, you know. But the reality is, if this was happening, you know, outside of the news outlets or outside of the public eye, we would deem Kanye in this situation as a very aggressive ex-husband that should be taken very seriously, and we're not because he's Kanye, you know. And
Right.
It's a difficult situation, I think, you know, and like we talk about him a lot, so I don't know. I think there's not a good way. The reality is like, it's happening, and we can't ignore it. But at the same time, like I think the media is giving it the wrong type of attention. But the media always kind of gives the wrong type of attention. I don't know if there's like a right type.
there's the
for
rub,
media,
eh?
you know.
So what do we do? Do we just ditch our phones in the river?
No, I mean,
Do we stop watching
and that's
the
not to
news?
say that like I don't know that we specifically are fueling it.
Well,
I think we're having
we,
a conversation
the
about
we.
it. You know?
We also can stop it.
yeah, but at the same time, like,
can't do much about it. Like
Yeah, it's
the
true.
tabloids, right?
The thing that's hard for me is I was talking to someone else about this not too long ago, and they brought this up. They go, if we like compare this, and I feel like I love comparing it to the situation of like Britney Spears, right? In the sense where like Britney Spears, all she really did that they like were like, she's insane, is she decided she wanted to shave her head. And the reason she did it herself is because no salon would agree to shave her head for her.
Yeah.
So
Because
she
she's
was like,
Britney Spears.
forget it, I'm doing it myself then.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it was from. Is she literally went to a salon, asked to shave her head, and they said no. And so she said, fine, I'm doing it myself. And then she was caught at the gate of her ex-husband's house trying to talk to him about custody.
Yep.
And they caught her, the paparazzi followed her that. And then after following her from those gates, trying to talk to him about custody battle stuff, which granted, like, was she in the middle of like a mental episode? Maybe. And then at the gas station, she was trying to hide in the car.
Yep.
And the paparazzi came up to her and was like, hey, like, you're losing your kids. How you doing, Brittany? And he like came up to her, wouldn't
Yeah.
let her leave her car. And so she went after him, defending herself with an umbrella. And that's like the
whole
famous that's
thing.
the whole famous
Yep.
thing. It was like one night, a solid like 30 minutes, and like deemed forever mentally ill, right?
Yeah.
And then here's Kanye in that same regard of like the tabloids were like, Britney's insane. Look at like her mental breakdown plastered everywhere. Kanye, who's very open about his mental issues.
Sure.
Everyone has spoken out about him going through this mental episode, all this stuff, and like going off of his meds and doing all these things, making threats to someone, posting like intimate conversations,
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
all like stalking, all this stuff. And no one does. And the media truly, like, besides like, oh, Kanye and Pete Davidson are feuding, hasn't really made a stance on it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think where Britney, like 30 minutes after that, she was mentally ill and like insane. And that
So
was it. And
apply
that's
the
what the
same-
media
because
said.
we already know that Kanye is mentally ill. Like, actually.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if it is different, right? Because like apply the same logic. Like we're just like to Britney, we just watched it happen. Like, and eventually she like spiraled into her unfortunate situation where she was like under a conservatorship and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe that's the difference.
we sat
is
and watched. Obviously, we, again, the collective, we can't
Yeah.
do much, but there are people that can, right? I mean,
And I think like we watched it happen, and then I think we watched it happen. Then people tried to like quote unquote help her.
hashtag
Where
free
we're-
Britney. Hashtag leave Britney alone.
Where like Kanye,
Yeah.
like
She's
we've
free
watched it happen, and then no one's stepping up to help him necessarily.
that,
But I
like,
know.
Too much
Kim
money.
or any of the Kardashians are doing anything?
I think they probably
you
have
feel like
tried.
Kim would be saying something.
I think they've probably tried. I mean, like when he had that first one where he talked about like them talking about aborting their daughter, like his
Yikes.
first public like breakdown where everyone was like, "Oh, I don't know if Kanye's good, guys." She made a statement kind of about it, about him struggling and that like they've been struggling with this privately and kind of, I don't remember if it was like necessarily apologizing, but basically just kind of letting everyone know like, hey, like this is something we've been dealing with. And like, now that it's more public, please give us like the respect about it.
I also feel like
I feel like recently, right after that, the divorce.
some of it might
Yeah.
have to do with
Public.
age too. I mean, Britney was a quote unquote child star, you know, like, and
But I mean,
so for a long
Kanye
time
got-
she had people that were like kind of watching over her, and I think that's
What's
kind
Kanye
of
now, like 40 or something?
when he in the documentary that they're releasing, or it might
Yeah.
all be out now. I don't
It's
know.
all out now.
but
All
it's all
3
out.
episodes.
I thought it was interesting. I mean, he's first didn't see fame until later, but you
Yeah.
see like young Kanye. And,
But I mean, like he got on the scene at like 19.
yeah,
I think
but
got
he's
signed
but
at
he's
20.
always able to advocate for himself.
Sure.
I'm saying there
Yeah.
was a time where Britney, wasn't
Couldn't,
able
yeah.
to legally speak for herself.
Other
or, you know what
people.
I'm
She
saying?
was used to having
And so
other
I think
people
that
make
kind of fed into
decisions.
it.
That
But
makes
I
sense.
also think, I wonder, and this is a question for you guys to kind of put out there. But like, do you think that there is a little bit of inequality between men versus women in mental health, and then the public eye and celebrity? Like, do you think that maybe Britney was seen as needing help, where Kanye isn't because she's a woman, or do you think there's any inequality that or social bias?
There's
there?
Yeah.
Yes and no. I don't think
I think it's more social
there's
bias.
a lot of factors in play. In,
Yeah,
in the whole
I
thing.
just thought I was thinking about it when we were talking about we immediately we
Yes.
were talking about Britney and Kanye, and I thought like, oh, well, maybe there is some sort of
I think-
inherent social bias.
I think women are more likely to be taken advantage of, especially young women.
Yes.
Than men who can be written off as like, oh, he's crazy, that guy over there. Whereas obviously, like, Britney's dad stepped in and was like literally taking her money and like taking
And
advantage
this
of
is
her
like,
situation.
I would love to hear your guys' perspective of this too. And this is just purely observation. I don't know if there's any actual merit in this.
Sure.
But I feel like too, besides like a handful of, like Justin Bieber as an example, a handful of, solo artists as men who have gotten famous younger and then grown up. I feel like women tend to like be found earlier and get famous earlier. Like you look at like Jessica Simpson, Kelly Clarkson,
Interesting, yeah.
Britney Spears, these people who are like singers, especially, and then maybe that's
Yes.
because like the males go through puberty and their voice physically changes, and they tend to kind of get famous in that realm of like music a little bit later than women do.
Yeah, that's
I
interesting.
don't, and that's purely
I
off of
don't understand
observation.
the question. Oh,
But do you think that would have like a play in the like inequality
How
of like
young?
men tend to kind of like get
Oh,
into
you're
it a little
saying
bit
'cause-
more as adults
Yeah.
than women who tend to get into it in a younger age?
I don't know, because there's a lot to be said for like child stars too, like
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin and like a
man.
lot of these guys that come out of Disney Channel. Obviously, like Drake Bell is like going through a lot right now too.
Oh
like
gosh, Drake,
got fully caught in
listen,
scandal
hey.
and rough, right? I mean, so I think that giving fame to anyone that young, I will say like. To what I was saying too, like the same way women can be like taken advantage of because of you
Yeah.
know, the public eye and what like our entire view on like sexuality is. It's like, geared already against women so that they're like, these objects,
also
right?
like parents too, right? Like Britney had kind of crappy parents. I mean, great parents in the sense that they advocated for her to have a career at a
You'd be
young age, but like,
surprised.
they kind of did her dirty. And, I would argue that Kanye had a really great mom. And, I look at like
It's like messed up. Like
Drew
there's
Barrymore, crappy parents.
there was literally a website that was set up that was counting down the days, minutes until Emma Watson was a legal adult.
Yeah.
Oh
gross.
God. Oh
Freaks.
God.
That's messed up.
Yikes.
Did you see that website?
Did I see it?
Did
How
he
do you
have
know
it?
about
Did
it?
he have
It
it
just
bookmarked?
was a thing.
And did he
Okay,
have?
don't
Did
be
he have a
creepy.
Hold on,
notification
hold
I'm
on.
saying
on
this
it?
was a thing.
It's our job to know
Okay.
media.
Thank
You saw it,
okay.
and you know.
Thank you.
Are you guys the same
for
age? She's
turning that
older
on
than
to
you.
me. What?
Is she older than you?
She's a little older than
Yeah.
me.
So
I think
you're
she's
fine.
28.
The point is, it existed. The website.
Yeah,
and I'm not
that's
saying I.
The
creepy.
world is a dark place, and that's never been.
Yeah.
Well, that was the same thing with Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
her whole thing with wearing baggy clothes was because she was underage and she didn't want to be
perved on.
materialized.
To answer your
like-
question,
yeah.
yes, I think it is geared more towards like taking advantage of women. Absolutely, because I don't know if that realm of creepy online guys exist
Yeah.
towards child
But
stars
then,
that are men.
like
but
going off of what Cara
maybe.
said with Billie Eilish, like you could almost kind of argue that like at some point too, it's about like the people who are the closest to that artist
Mm-hmm.
watching out for them, and like Billie Eilish being like, "Hey, we know the world's a dark place. Let's get ahead of this. You're underage." Let's make it like let's decide on how we're going to handle that. And she decided with the baggy clothes, which was a genius move on her part.
I think also with the Kanye, situation specifically, I think the Kardashians, like, they know what they're doing. Like the Kardashians are famous primarily because of their dad having one of the biggest trials in the last 40, probably 50, 100 years. You know
and
what I'm
the
saying?
sex scandal.
But then you look at like after that, like they've made themselves famous. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, they,
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
they are like genius marketing
Yeah.
people, and that's what I'm saying. Like I wonder how much of it is like them knowing Kanye and knowing what he's struggling with, and also
And
knowing
playing with his emotions.
and also knowing how to keep themselves and
because they're still running their own business,
Yeah, you know what I'm
right,
saying?
of themselves.
'Cause-
And so to that point, and I will say, like, the one thing that I do agree with Pete Davidson on is he's a big advocate for struggling with mental health issues.
Yeah.
And that's still something that Hollywood doesn't know how to talk about. And even maybe
Yeah.
the Kardashians of being like, well, Kanye has issues and he's like struggles. And it's like, that's kind of the bulk of like public statements, and really across the board, like we're saying, like we're just watching it happen on display for all to see. And nobody is coming out and being like, really short of Pete Davidson being like, Kanye has a lot of problems and he needs to be seeking help. And
And you can
that
look
is
at-
like there's something to be said for that.
Like even how the Kardashians handled Scott Disick, who struggled with alcohol very publicly on their show for years.
yeah.
And they never really were good. Like they would show him kind of in and out of rehab, but they were, like you were
Right.
saying, they were never good about making
Yeah.
a stance and like really advocating for him to get help or, vice versa.
And I don't think shame on the Kardashians. I think, to John's point, is they're playing the game because they're making a lot of money for it. And Hollywood at large isn't doing it enough.
Yeah,
to
I think
combat
I
that.
just like I had that realization. I was like, why are the Kardashians are famous? Because they have kept themselves famous. You know what I'm saying?
Like playing it close
There's
to the
not like a
chest.
music. There's not like, I mean, obviously they have like a makeup line and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But like, there's not like an inherent, like extremely creative field that's tying them, like music or acting. You know what I'm saying? Like they kind of have made themselves relevant, and in turn have stumbled into things like clothing and makeup. You know what I'm saying? But like
Sure.
there was never like, they have always known how to keep themselves in the headlines, and it's always been like this like secretive, like we're bougie. You know what I'm saying? Because like, didn't one of them have like a baby and like nobody knew about it or something? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Kylie
like,
Jenner had her
that kind of
pregnancy.
stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Secret baby.
Like they know
Sure.
what the world wants a little bit. And are they playing off of Kanye in that? I don't know.
Yes. I mean, not yes, but not no, right?
They're taking advantage of
they're
the
just
situation.
seeing how the cards fall and going, how can I benefit from it? And
Yeah, I think also furthermore, I had this thought too. Wait, that I don't want to get us too far into this unless anyone has something else that they want to say.
my only other thing that hurts my heart is like is now that they have children together and
Yeah.
the kids are involved, and it's not just two celebrities, it's two parents, and it kind of does ground it back to earth for me of like, you're right, if this were not famous people, we would be like, this is messed up, and this,
And I think also
like
their
people get
kids-
restraining orders for this sort
How
of
many
thing.
people do you think are actually reaching out to them? Like for real?
I don't. You know what? It is a
Probably
life
not.
I know nothing about.
That,
Like,
honestly, I think you'd be surprised
I
at how
have
many
a
people are
bad
not
feeling
going
that
to.
a ton of people are like reaching out to their families and being like, "What is
Trying to
going
help
on?"
them?
Yes,
Yeah,
Or just trying to
I
get
don't
the
know.
scoop, you
I mean,
think?
or just
I don't
trying
know.
to make a
trying
buck.
to get the scoop or trying to.
I
help
think a lot of
or-
people I think you'd be surprised how many people are distancing themselves from all that.
Mm-hmm.
I think no matter how you slice the situation, it is not a good look for everyone involved.
Definitely not.
I think that in that kind of distancing, it's hard because I think that a lot of people in this case, kind of like what we're looking at, is like at the end of the day, it matters about the kids. Like
Yep.
you're both adults, you need to figure this out. But like the kids, I can't advocate for themselves yet. So like, I think a lot of people probably are distancing themselves from either side purely because they both seem like they're not doing the best for their children from
Sure.
the outside perspective looking in. You know, like
Yeah.
Pete Davidson had some really kind words to say about Kim Kardashian and how she's mothering her kids during all this. But it's hard. Like it's hard looking outside in, totally being like biased, you know, broken
Totally.
people. You're like, why is she dating already? She should be there for her kids. And it's like at the same point, it's like, well, why is he dating? You know,
Yeah.
like
The
it's
public
hard.
jury, right?
Yeah, the
I
public
mean-
jury, and like it's hard. You can't really judge anyone on anything like that. But I bet people have tried to help, and I bet now people are walking away out of just frustration.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard because you can't blame anyone in this.
Yeah.
You know, you can blame a lot of people, but you shouldn't.
I think we also, if you narrow in on Kanye specifically,
I know
we-
it's bright.
We talked a little bit about Van Gogh, you know, and like
tied in,
and like
John,
just,
come on.
Well, I'm just saying like the tortured artist. I said that word, but I'm just saying like, you know, Kanye is struggling.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
important to remember. You know what I'm saying? Like he and people with some of the stuff he's going through, like medication, sure, that's one option, but like for someone like Kanye who's just been creative his whole life, sometimes medication just isn't the simple answer. You
Well,
know
and
what I'm
also
saying?
medication has had so many known side effects that really do like hurt other. Like if you're relying on the side of your brain that
Yeah.
produces that creativity, a lot of the time that's the side of the brain that
Getting
with that
suppressed.
getting that medication suppresses it. And so it's like, yeah, it probably is hurting his career and his creativity when he is on his meds.
And I think
I don't.
But
I
then
don't
being
have enough.
off, it's like
I don't have
hurting
enough
his-
information, but it seems like a cop out when it
Oh,
when it.
Especially when you have so much money
Another
that
big like one more big disclaimer: don't have enough information about it. Have never like gone down that road of like you know whatever, like being
Yeah.
creative and being on medication and that hindering it. It sounds like, oh, I just you know I don't want to take my medication. Like I
Yeah.
just want to be like who I want to be. You know,
Well,
and,
and then-
and he's kind of an unhinged individual, so it's kind of hard to like take that at face value and go like.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't know.
I don't know. I just think that what the reason I brought that up is not because like there's to find a solution or to have the right answer.
Yes.
As always on this show, like we're just kind of talking through it. I just think that there's
Mm-hmm.
like an enormous amount of like grace and understanding that like needs to factor into this.
Yep.
And the media will never be that way.
It will never grant that.
And that will never be the case. But I'm just saying, as like as someone who maybe enjoys Kanye's music or enjoys Kanye's craft, it's important to remember that, you know, we're never going to get the whole story, but
Sure.
that we're all human, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
Kanye right now, I'm sure is going through something that is unimaginable. Like all the cameras, all the lights are on him, and he's struggling with what he's going through. And I think there's just like a lot there that it's easy to quick to go like he needs to go on meds or something. You know what I'm saying? But
Fix
it's like,
your problems, bro.
it's like, come on, like no one's asking you to do that, you know?
Isn't it just kind of sickening, right? Like
It's-
we can sit here and know nothing about St. Patrick's Day, right? And like I'm sure
You mean
I'm
Saint
sure,
and Patrick?
Connected.
Yeah,
Saint,
the duo?
oh yes,
The
Saint
most
and Patrick
iconic
the
duo.
duo.
By the way, I want to just like,
Liberated the
take back what I
snakes.
said earlier. Great bit, Annie.
Thanks. Yeah,
Super funny
yes.
and relevant.
Yeah, screw you. How dare you bash on
She was
that
playing
bit.
this the
That
whole
was so
time.
good.
She was
The
pretty
background
funny.
the background music for Van Gogh's murder too was pretty good too. Really good. But
So
like
he really
but
drove
like
those
isn't
snakes out of there.
But wait, but isn't it hard? I swear this tied in. Like we can sit here and know nothing about St. Patrick's Day, or like, you know, we don't know if MLK Day is. Well, I guess some of us
No,
do,
we
but
do.
like if it was his
We do.
birthday or his
Okay.
death day, you know, like. But the fact that like I can be naive in that.
Can you put the camera on me really
But-
quick? The day we celebrate as MLK Day is in fact his birthday.
We know
Okay,
that
back to
for
me.
real.
Camera back to me.
We do
back
know
to me.
that.
Back
We
to
do know
me.
that.
All right.
But like the fact that we can sit here and be naive about these people who like have changed the world and like affected millions of lives, but yet we can know almost everything that the media has out on Kanye West and Kim Kardashian's divorce. Like it's
Yeah.
just
It's a
at
scary world
some
we
point
live in.
it kind of makes me sick to my stomach to be like,
Well,
we spend
and
so
do
much
you know-
time.
But do we know the
Yeah,
information?
I was just
But
thinking
at the
the same
same
thing.
time,
I just
like,
know it took forever to get their divorce. Like,
Divorces
But
take a
yet
long
we
time.
don't-
we know what the media tells us, right?
but yet we
I mean-
haven't solved Van Gogh's murder.
Okay, look.
Okay, well.
Did you know there's no snakes in Hawaii?
Yes, I did know
thing.
that.
Same thing. No snakes in Hawaii.
I
No
did
snakes
know
in
that.
Ireland. Yeah. No snakes.
I,
All right,
I in fact let the record show that Andy Skovmand did know that there were no snakes in Hawaii.
You did know
Not
that?
one snake. I mean, maybe like pets, but
Yeah,
I doubt. There's probably
Maybe.
there's probably like
Water
at least
snakes.
6.
there's water snakes.
I don't
There's gotta
believe
be.
so.
Well, people. Come on, they got to
ahead.
bring snakes onto the island. You know what I'm saying? And then they
No,
let
you
go.
have to
They let
just
go.
close
No,
them,
did you see
you know.
that snakes on a plane?
Oh, you think
You
think that there's there's no way to get a snake on Hawaii?
Dude, customs, bro.
You don't
gotta
think there's
go pass through
smuggling?
customs?
You don't think people
Snake smugglers?
onto
I don't
Hawaii?
think-
If you're rich enough and you live on Hawaii, you don't
You
think you
have
can
to
get a
put-
yeah.
snake?
You have to put
Yep.
so much baggage.
No.
through,
Rich guy.
Yeah, no,
through,
I'm
like,
sure
Rich
people
guy.
have pet snakes,
Private,
but I don't
private
think.
plane, private.
You guys
I
live.
don't
pad.
think-
You guys live in that little icy bubble you're
That's
in.
right.
No, I
And
don't think
icy-
that a snake, a lone snake, if released, I don't think that it would survive. I think that it would get
First
killed
of all,
and it
how would
couldn't.
how would it buy a plane ticket? Lone snake, snake by itself.
All right.
But I'm
Doesn't
saying
matter.
if someone had a pet
no
snake,
snakes
released
on
it, it
Hawaii.
couldn't have
Apparently
more
there's
than it
zero
couldn't.
snakes.
It couldn't multiply.
That's
It's an
true.
invasive
You need
species.
two.
You need two.
You need at least
Nah,
two
there's enough
snakes.
people who'd see that snake and just kill it.
Yeah,
in
I
a
think.
second.
You think that's how tight it is in Hawaii that they're just going to kill
Yes,
a snake when
yes.
they see it?
Customs, bro.
I think that the natural animals
Stop
in Hawaii
saying
would
that.
kill the snake.
Stop. Don't
Wild
say
boar.
All
it.
right.
The boars, the mongoose,
The turtles.
even the freaking chickens. Those chickens are freaks.
Chickens will get this snake
Mm.
real quick.
Yeah, I think the chickens would kill the snake.
What'd you type in there, John?
He's googling if there's snakes in Hawaii.
How many snakes are in Hawaii right now?
No, I know
Seven.
What are you typing?
7. Wikipedia says 7.
Nobody just types for nothing around here.
Water snakes.
Water snakes. Annie, let's talk about your thing. Go ahead.
What was my thing?
That was a transition.
Oh,
come on.
Shit. Okay. Oh, yeah. Do it. Okay.
All
okay.
right,
Tee it up again.
Let's
Tee it up
check in.
again.
Let's check
wait,
in.
Wait. Tee it up.
It's
tee it up
kind of
again.
been a minute since we've checked in.
Checked
Thank
in.
you.
Go ahead.
Just as a podcast. We'll
Go
just see
ahead.
how everybody's doing.
All right.
Go ahead, John.
All right. I'm doing okay.
Are you wrong?
Cool. Annie.
I'm doing okay.
All right.
Oh,
Kara?
really?
Over to Kara.
Oh, really? Should we? Do you want to talk about it, John?
We
Do
should
you wanna
talk about
it?
why we're starting late today because Annie
First of all,
doesn't
like,
prioritize
they
this
don't know that.
podcast.
Kara,
Oh.
how you doing?
Yeah.
Good.
Good
I
transition.
still have heartburn from the corned beef from earlier.
in that
Corned
whiskey
beef.
shop.
Corned
Ugh,
beef
Brian,
is
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
good.
that
Hey,
whiskey
Ryan,
Should
how
we
are
take
you?
another?
I decided
No.
on
Oh,
chaos
God,
today.
I think I'll throw up if I do another one.
I
Oh, you guys
literally
are
would
out,
want to throw
obviously.
You
up.
don't have to, but
Brian, how are you?
I'm doing fairly well.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
I had a good day.
That's nice. I'm glad.
Went
Glad
and
you
had
did.
some lunch.
Where'd you eat lunch?
Where
Now,
did I go to lunch? Oh, Pizza Port.
Nice.
wait a minute.
Lunch
I
special.
have something.
Lunch special.
Kara brought it up.
Okay.
She pointed to a mug
Well,
that
we
we
don't
have.
have to address it. We can just there it is,
But
right?
I wanna bring this
make
up.
Green M&M sexy again. Let's
Well,
just
here
be honest.
we've all witnessed this.
Yes.
We went to a movie and they played
Muzzle.
advertisements.
what's
with
the
sexy,
Irish thing they say? Shovel or something?
What?
Doesn't
If you
matter.
live
Slave-
in heaven for an hour before the devil knows you're dead.
there.
Dead.
Cheers.
Knows you're dead.
Oh, well. Puff.
We went and saw a movie
went and
last
saw a
week.
movie last week, and that movie had advertisements, the old advertisements of the
Yes,
M&M commercials.
old.
Yeah.
And it had sexy green M&M. So my whole thing with M&M, if you
Okay.
haven't heard the controversy,
Yes.
they're trying to rebrand her. They're trying to
No,
make her
they
less
did it.
sexy.
They did it.
They did.
But then
rebrand
And-
it.
why would they still show advertisements with her sexy? If they're
Because
truly
they have,
trying to
they have
erase
to
it.
get
It's
the
an
most
old
out of
movie
it.
theater.
They got to get the most
It's
out
an
of
I
it.
old
think
movie
it's
theater.
from now on they're not going to make green M&M sexy.
Yes.
And honestly, it's one of those nobody is upset about it except for Tucker Carlson, right? Like his whole piece was like, this is
His
the
hit
liberal
piece
agenda
against the green M&M.
And it's like
I'm kind of
everyone's
upset
like,
about it. Her heeled boots were so cute, and now they're flat.
Oh, you're
Okay.
upset about her
you're,
not being
you're
sexy.
upset because she was
Yeah.
cute
Tucker
as a sexy
Carlson
M&M.
is
Tucker
mad about
Carlson
her
is
Now she's
mad.
not a cute M&M.
Tucker
Okay.
Carlson's mad about
That's
it, honey.
Tucker Carlson's dream is that she's not cute.
because
what
he kind
wants.
of maybe wants to have sex with the M&M.
Which
Is what we're
Wait,
thinking.
he
I
doesn't
don't
want her to be
know. No,
sexy,
his-
so
yeah,
he's
he-
happy?
he does-
No, his whole point is like this is the liberal agenda. They're making everything like
Cara,
just
I want you to
bland.
watch 5 minutes of Tucker Carlton's just regular programming,
It's
and
rough.
you'll know exactly
He's the guy.
his stance
that
on
talks
it.
like this.
I'll say her
He talks
tennis
like
shoes.
this.
Her tennis shoes aren't not sexy.
The new tennis shoes. Can we get a
Yeah.
picture
I
of
liked
it?
her
Is that possible?
boots.
Yeah. Let me
Just
pull up
airplay a new
the.
picture of the.
the old
boots.
green M&M and the new green M&M.
Yeah, let me do that. Let me
Just a
do
quick
that for
side
you.
note. If you're listening at home, we have a quick poll we're going to release this week about a particular movie snack. Because when we were watching this movie,
Oh God.
I got
Oh God. Oh
Just-
God. He got the worst one.
I got attacked
Absolutely dragged through the mud.
because I eat cookie dough bites, chocolate
Okay.
cookie bites.
There are
and
two
you had
snacks.
Raisinets.
Okay,
Yes,
just
that's
like
a movie
just like
theater.
everyone
Yeah.
else, every hot-blooded American that drinks ginger ale only on
Raisinette.
airplanes.
That's true.
When you're at the movie theater, you drink. You drink.
So I'm going to take a poll this week.
You
and
eat chocolate-covered raisins.
And I'll tell you, I think I'm going to win because
Okay,
I think
let's
you're
cut
in the
over
wrong.
to-
But anyways, let's go.
Yeah, I don't have a switcher. So
Oh,
She still looks good.
So yeah, she still looks good. I mean, she's not sexy with them sexy tennis shoes.
okay,
So,
but look at how she's
we took
standing.
off
That's
this-
not a good stance.
And we also, the thing that's kind of weird to me is I never realized this before, but the arms and legs were slightly flesh toned. Oh, sorry. Were slightly flesh toned.
sorry.
And I think that's kind of strange to me that they.
It's because they wanted the
took that
boots
away.
and
You're
the
all
gloves
set.
to be
You're all
white.
set. You're all set, Kara.
I don't. Oh,
I turned it over.
It's just strange to me. Like they now all the limbs are completely white, which
Okay, so just to be
It's just as
clear,
weird.
you are siding with Tucker Carlson on this one. You want the sexy M&M back.
Yes.
I kind of do. I mean,
do.
like, why
No,
not?
wait.
I do.
I think
thought
both
Tucker
are
Carlson-
fine.
Rounded M&M boots. Look at those.
I think both are fine, but I think also at the same time, like, I think that I don't get why they would rebrand her. You know, like I don't think
keep
enough
with the times
people,
like conventional, beauty, conventional
you know
sexuality.
what? They're geniuses.
Yeah.
No one gave a crap about
Nobody
M&Ms.
cared is the point,
And they're
right?
like, hey, let's.
Marketing.
I
Someone
bet you-
said, you know what? I bet this
I
will
bet
start
Fox
a lot.
News got a cut
Yeah.
from
they're
M&M.
like,
from
you
Nestle.
know what
It
will
was like,
start
here you
a
go.
lot? Let's just take her boots off. Just give her tennis shoes.
Give her
My
tennis
whole thing
shoes.
Give her
is
tennis
now
shoes?
she looks stiff. She's like not like herself.
So
Someone changed her.
which
The-
one of
the
these?
round
if you
M&M
saw
has lost
one
her
of
curves
these, which one would
Yes.
sell more candy?
She lost her fluidity.
I think you put
She's like
a STEM
stiff now.
player in her hand, and you just got a real thing going.
Dang.
You know what I'm
My
saying?
gosh.
With the Donda album on it, and I
Donda.
think you're really in
It's
a
a
good
whole
spot.
advertisement.
I
don't
think
know.
I don't know. I still like the boots. I'm
too.
with Cara. I
Let's
like
be
I
real.
like the boots. I'm more likely to buy those boots than those
Yes.
tennis shoes.
Like, I'm
Those
sorry.
are like freaking Adidas.
But
which are trendy. Which are trendy.
Did these guys ever make you want to buy
No,
M&Ms?
No.
Or was
No,
it just
actually,
a
no.
I liked
wacky
it because
little
it was
thing?
a cute,
The red and the
cute
yellow
green
one.
girl lemonade. M&M.
Oh, Carrot
I
Drum.
liked
No,
the
they
red
don't.
and the green one.
I
Were
want
always
everybody
funny.
to close their eyes for a second.
gosh.
All right, I'll close my
Why?
eyes. I'm in. I'm 100% in.
I only know the three of them.
Close your eyes.
Do you think Santa will like these green and red M&Ms?
That's
Thank you.
very good. The
Thank
yellow
you.
M&M.
Wait, here's the movie theater one.
No, this is an envelope.
Thank you.
Wow.
Can you only do the yellow
You know
one?
who
Nicolas
voices?
Cage?
Yes.
You know who voices the yellow M&M?
Who?
J.K. Simmons, the guy from
Really?
Whiplash that was in Spider-Man,
Nice.
the bald guy.
Yes, the news guy.
You know what? Good for.
Good for him, right?
Here's the thing, right? I
Finally
remember
found some
the
work.
green M&M because she's sexy, and I remember the red one, and the red one's the angry one, and the
Yes.
yellow one's the funny
He-
one. I don't know any of the
yellow
other
one's the
colors.
peanut.
The red one is the voice of what's his name? He does Fry on Futurama.
I don't know.
I don't know. Can we get some Nicolas Cage? Go
I
ahead
don't
and
Oh,
Nicolas Cage talking
haven't
about
done him
the
in a while.
M&M
When does
controversy.
this movie come out?
I just
Oh,
want
what's
to
that?
know, why did you change the green M&M? It's just not. It's not so sexy anymore.
wait a
so
minute, guys!
Tucker
I
Carlson.
never knew this. Wait.
Go ahead.
Now,
The
the
brown
little
M&M.
Mita wants you to take away the green M&M.
The brown
They made
M&M
it.
is also a woman.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Sure.
What's
There's a
her
blue
story?
one.
I want to hear more about her. Don't
You ever
change
think
the
about the-
green.
Did they change her?
M&M lore.
Wait a minute. They changed the green one, but they didn't change the brown one. She's still in heels.
Is she still sexy?
They were too
They're
close
getting
together.
to it.
So then,
Rebranding.
like, what's the point if it's not
the
like
brown
a
one has
statement?
glasses, right?
Have you ever been to the M&M store in Vegas?
No.
Yes.
Oh
They
yes, I have.
They have when you're going up the escalators. They have like through the years, like of the red and the yellow M&M, like through the years. Like in the 20s they looked like this, and then 30s,
Okay.
40s.
On the
50s.
M&M's website, they have entire like personalities on
I
these
love
guys.
that. Oh my gosh,
Red,
what's the brown
angry.
one? Tell me about her.
The brown one is she's like a studious. Like she has a little like
Oh,
half
yeah.
But
half
she-
heel.
She has like office heels.
Yeah, but
Her
like
her they all have bylines. Brown, not bossy, just the boss.
Whoa.
Nice.
Straight up.
don't
They have
like-
questions. What's your worst
I don't like
quality?
that.
I don't
Being
like
able
that.
to pretend I have one. What would be the
Wow.
first
She
thing
seems
you would
pretentious.
do if today was your last
she's-
day?
she's wearing glasses.
I'd answer interview questions like this
know what
because
I'm saying?
honestly, that seems to slow time to a crawl. She's like has
she,
no
honestly, she
no
kind of
time
sucks.
for that.
She's
Yeah.
sassy.
I don't
You guys
like
want to
her.
hear about Orange?
Yeah, let's hear
yeah,
about.
Orange is
worried.
a scared
Scared.
one.
His byline is I find your lack of concern extremely concerning. He's
Oh,
just
he's
like
a scaredy
stressed. Little
cat.
orange guy is
Yeah.
stressed.
He has
Stressed.
big feet.
You ever think about Eminem lore?
M&M.
Do you think there are people who
You know
are like
what's
really
Do you
into
think
it?
we were going to talk about Eminem lore when
Not
this
at all.
podcast started?
Not at all. I will
That's
say
not how
this:
this whole podcast
I would not
goes.
be surprised if Eminem made a movie about their characters in the next 10 years.
They have
No,
one.
this is an envelope.
They have one in M&M factory.
Yeah, we missed
Okay,
it in
but-
Vegas. We missed it.
I mean,
We
like a
didn't go.
commercial movie, like a movie.
Like an hour and a half.
like
long.
the
Oh,
Lego
yeah.
movie.
They have like a good what is
I mean,
it?
they made a
M&M?
Lego
like
movie.
10
They
minutes.
could make anything.
Yeah, honestly, like Lego, I'm sure the
Yikes.
first person to ever pitch a Lego movie, they were like, that's dumb, we're a toy company.
Like,
and
you're out of your
imagine how,
mind.
like, it was huge.
I mean, they sold so many Legos because of that movie.
But
Probably.
Legos never had like commercials like M&M's when they were already like people.
Oh,
so when
you
the
guys want
movies
to talk
came out,
about
it was probably so big.
Turning Red? You guys hear about that movie?
No, what's that?
It's getting
did.
dragged. It's this movie.
A lot of controversy.
A lot of controversy around this movie. It's a new Pixar movie, and it's about this adolescent girl, right? And whenever she gets stressed, she turns into a
it's
giant red
whenever
panda.
she gets like big emotions, like
Oh,
stressed,
I heard
super
about this.
happy, super joyous, super mad.
You
about
think,
the
She turns into
controversy?
a red
you think
panda.
Pixar went too far on this one?
Wait,
I haven't
what's-
seen the movie yet, but
What?
the
Yeah.
controversy is, so this is the thing, is like she turns into a big red panda.
When she
It's
has any like big emotions.
Okay, so
magically.
feelings.
are they getting high and writing these movies now? What
Okay,
the
so
hell is
the
this?
whole thing is a what do you call it? Like it's supposed to represent like
metaphor.
it's a metaphor for like she gets her period, right? Is like
It's a
she's
metaphor
going
for
through
puberty.
adolescence.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
supposedly.
definitely thought like that's the first thing my mind went to is
Same.
turning red. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
And I guess
interesting.
anyways, the conservative crowd is dragging it because it's like, no, teenagers shouldn't know what happens to their bodies.
Well,
But I don't-
it's being dragged because it's catered towards a young audience. Like
It like
It's
wasn't
Pixar.
kids.
Yeah,
it
it's
wasn't
Pixar.
marketed in a way
Who
that was
parents
like
haven't, like,
for teenagers.
talk
Had
to
a
kids.
conversation about. I
Go
mean,
ahead,
but
Annie.
let's be real. It's not like they're not coming out and saying it.
Yeah.
Like a kid could watch that.
I think
and
the
say,
I don't
main
know. I
thing
mean,
is because
we haven't seen the movie.
I
Maybe they
guess
have.
in the movie,
Oh.
there's parts where like her parents are trying to tell her to like suppress like her emotions, so
feelings.
she ends up running away, and her friends are like, "Good
feels
for
like
you."
a lose-lose on both sides of the aisle to me. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
so
Like
stupid.
Nobody can win.
there's no way that either side's gonna like this fully.
I saw a TikTok of a girl because it's the main girl is Asian. It's like
Sure.
an Asian family, and this Asian girl on TikTok, she was like, when I heard that they were making a movie with an Asian main lead called Turning Red, I immediately thought of When I Turn Red When I Drink Alcohol.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
so funny.
And then she was like, and then I realized it was a metaphor for a period.
Yikes.
It's funny.
I think
Go
that
ahead, Annie.
Lose-lose.
I'm ready for the Annie
here's
take on this one.
here's my issue with it, right? Like
here
I
we
think
go.
Pixar
Speaking
did
to
a
the mic.
great job. I think Pixar did a great job.
Thank you.
I think they did a great job with Inside Out. And I think that was a great way to market to kids, understanding your emotions and the difference between emotions and the
Sure.
importance of emotions.
Yeah.
This, granted, haven't seen it, right? I think that playing, it's making it like this fantastical thing that's not real. right? Like that's the
fantasizing
thing.
the idea of
Fantasizing this idea that is like a real issue that people have, and like controlling your emotions.
That's interesting.
There's a
Did
better
you
way
feel
to
that way
get kids
about
to
Inside
understand
Out?
that.
I mean,
no,
it's this fantastical thing where
because it was like
emotions live in
inside
your
a
head.
kid's head, right? So it's like seeing it. It's a way to have kids understand that there are different emotions that all take over your body at different times.
Sure.
You know, like you can be irrationally angry at points, and like having a kid visualize that in a way that they can understand of like, oh, well, joy is in my head and I can get that, or like sadness is in my head, but joy is also there. Like understanding that like all these things live in your head is one thing.
Can live all together in one
Fantastically
space,
turning into a red panda when a girl gets upset, like a little boy watching that isn't going to understand that. Even a little girl watching that
It's
isn't
a bad
necessarily going to
connotation,
understand
I think.
that.
Hey, maybe it's the movie night tonight. Eh?
But then I
Maybe
also
we-
have an
Is it out?
issue.
It's
Yeah.
out.
Like,
Okay, we gotta see it.
Got to do the research.
there's a
Go ahead, Annie.
there's
I
an
see
issue
what you're
I
saying on
have.
that.
Annie,
to-
I'm just gonna stop you for a second. Do you turn into a big red panda when you get upset?
There's an issue I have with people making fun of the genetic condition I have, in which I turn into a red panda on my period, and nobody talks
And you
about
know
it.
what?
I have to hide away for a week at a time,
Okay, we
and
didn't
also
know-
now they're marketing it for money.
We didn't know if you wanted us to address it. You do a lot of like week-long tours.
Do you know how
like,
much fur clogs my dryer when I have to do my laundry?
A lot of red fur.
No, Eddie, I think I know what you're saying. The problem is like I can't speak to it because I'm not
Oh,
a female,
you
so I
know-
don't want to. I
oh,
don't want
the
to speak to
patriarchy?
it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I will say is like I do
Still
understand what
women's
you're
month,
saying.
John.
as-
So tread lightly.
I know I'm treading lightly. No, I understand. Like
Yeah.
you know, what was this movie we called with emotions? What was it called?
Inside out.
Inside Out.
Soul.
I thought that was great. You know, and Soul.
Like things like that. Like there's
So
a
good.
way
But you're
to
right.
make it.
You're like kind of. You're giving like a wrong like perception almost.
Well,
you know?
I mean, soul kind of does too, right? I mean, that's like a
but
very
it's universal.
artistic, but it's an artistic take on something else, right?
But okay, then you could argue like, okay, like Coco, right? And you're dealing with
It's
death
a way
and
to
emotions.
grasp something that's not like people die and you don't see them again. It's like it's a way to like
Okay,
not.
maybe that's
just-
one way, right? It's like I think it's good in the sense that like, yeah, we should have a movie where there is an Asian main character and kids can look at the screen and be like, oh my gosh, that girl looks like me.
Yeah.
But
okay.
there's like a way to like put that out there where it's not like the fact that she turns into a red
Overshadowed
panda.
by.
yeah, I think
I
that's,
think that's
it's
kind of
so
what
I think you're
tacky.
getting caught up on the red panda. I think we need to watch the movie.
Am.
And
I agree with you.
Isn't
If it's
th- is
anything
that
like
not
what it
the whole
sounds,
movie?
I don't think
I
it's.
think it is.
let's do this.
about a
Let's do
freaking
this.
red panda.
Let's watch it together. All right. Let's enjoy the movie, right? It's a little. I mean, it's Disney. What has Disney ever done wrong? to
Yeah, we're
us?
gonna have to
no, what
order
has
in,
Disney ever
order
done
in
wrong?
food because
Bum,
none
bum,
of us are
bum.
driving. Not after
Definitely
that
not me
shot.
and John. We are drunk.
I'm also not gonna drive.
Oh,
Okay, well,
Kara's
Nope.
got a
Order in, Jordan.
little Irish spring going on there.
21%.
I don't know. I
Remember.
think. Well, I agree with Ryan. We should watch it. I just think.
Form our own opinions,
I
right?
don't-
I mean,
I
what are
don't
we
know.
talking?
I
What
don't
are
have
we
a
even
great
talking
feeling
about
about
right now?
For-
We're talking about
Next
Okay,
week
how
we're
about
gonna
this?
talk
How
about
about this?
it. We
We
will.
watch the stupid movie about the
Deal.
panda.
Deal.
All right.
And then next week I have the same opinions.
Fine.
Okay.
If you do, I'll literally quit the show.
Okay, so then I can't
If
because
your
it's kind
opinion,
of.
if your opinion doesn't change at all by next week, I will be.
I'm just
quitting
curious
the show.
on like how.
Well, this is our last show
How
anyway.
hard they go in on the metaphor of a period.
That's
Like how
just
hard
end
are
the
they
You know
going to go in?
what? Okay,
on
that's
that?
it. We're watching it
wrap
because
it
you're
up.
right,
Yeah,
Kara.
yeah,
That's a good point.
I'm
I
not
want to
saying
see
now,
what
but I'm
this
saying
metaphor
for
is.
future.
No.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you know what? It's a difficult topic. We should watch it because
What,
I
a
don't.
period?
No, just the movie.
Yeah,
now.
Kara,
that
get him.
too.
Get him, Kara. Get him.
Get him. Women's
Get him.
month.
Yeah,
Women's
go
month.
ahead,
Women.
Kara. What?
Drag him.
How was it even like a drag? Okay.
Just kidding. Say what you're going to say.
What I was gonna say is we should watch the movie. I agree, but I'm just saying, the premise and the idea of it. I think Disney might have gone too far, but we'll find out when we watch it.
I think they have to.
I love. Hey, we got to have hot takes on this show because
Hot
if we
takes,
don't,
hot
And I
takes.
will, and I'll tell
and
you
I
what
know
I
you
think
will.
next week.
I know you will.
Okay.
And wait, what? This is a show end.
I think you guys
Ending
end
the
it the
show?
way you started it
Jeez.
in the only way we know how.
with an
Proper 12.
Irish,
With an Irish,
Conor McGregor.
never above you, always behind you, to your side, let's ride.
Go ahead, Catholic cross.
Wow,
All
nice.
right.
All right, sweet.
Something like that.
Muzzle.
Oh God.
That was a heavy one.
Play us out, Rye.
Hey.
Well, we thank you all for listening to this episode of What the Podcast. It'll really help us out if you head on down to the affiliate links,
Yeah, it's true.
buy some stuff from
Yeah.
Amazon. A little bit of that kicks back to us. You can use the code WTP at poddex.com to get 10% off your next order of podcasts, card decks. Everybody, stay safe out there on this St. Patrick's Day weekend. We'll see you next week on
What the Podcast?